Hello everybody. How you doing? So in this episode I wanted to quickly go over some of the changes that will be happening to people coming into Japan, visitors starting November 1st, and some of the steps that you need to take. I've been looking over this, and actually on social media I've been getting so many email messages from so many people that are asking me about this. It's a little bit crazy because I just can't answer everybody except if I do something like this as a live stream. Just to boil it down, there's an app that everybody has been asked to download. It's right here. It's called the MySOS app. Do you see that there? So the MySOS app is one of these apps that helps to fast track you into Japan. One, do you need to download the MySOS app? No. You can come in without the app as long as you have your vaccination certificate. The reason why the app is useful is for fast tracking. And what that means is you spend very little time inside the airport. You can go straight to your luggage, get that, and right out the door to your hotel. People have said that they've taken anywhere between 16 minutes to about 45 minutes to get through with the fast track. And I've seen people that didn't use the fast track take a few hours. Now, everybody's situation is going to be different. I'm getting reports, different kinds of reports from Narita, Haneda, from Kansai. People are sharing their experiences with me. But in general, fast tracking has been very successful to get your paperwork together in one digital place that you could show on an app to immigration and customs and get right through the door. I highly recommend that everybody do it, especially if you've been vaccinated 3 times. If you haven't, then the procedures, you can still come to Japan, but the procedures are just different. The reason of this live stream is to tell you that on November 1st, a new application is going to be used for entry into Japan. This fast tracking is going to change, but the procedures to come in are not. That means that if you don't have a vaccination, you weren't going to be using this app. You can just stop listening to this live stream right now. But although you never know, you might learn something very interesting. So let's take a look here. If you're interested in getting this fast track, there is an actual QR code right there. You can just scan this. It's the app is called Visit Japan Web. There's the QR code, and I'm going to go in and just kind of show you what this app does. And if you don't want to watch this live stream, that's okay. There's actually in the description it's not okay, but there's in the description of this video there's a link that will give you the directions to use this that we're going to go over together. The digital agency in Japan, which is tasked to digitalizing all of Japan's paperwork, thank goodness there is one, and they're doing stuff, has been hard to work on this. And thank goodness, because MySOS, this app, was intended not to be, that's Kanai too. That this app was not intended to be for its purpose right now. This MySOS app purpose was for quarantining and for things like this, and for tracking you once you entered into Japan. They could track you and call you and contact you to make sure that you were still in your hotel. Things like this. So there's a lot of tracking stuff on this app that you don't need anymore, and it was raising red flags, especially in countries in Europe that have a lot more privacy laws, I think, than maybe in the United States. I think it was Sweden, Denmark, or the Netherlands. I got email messages saying that they were warnings not to download the MySOS app because of tracking software, and we kind of gone around this. So the great thing is that if you're traveling to Japan until November 14th, from this date and before, you can still use that MySOS app. So if you started the process of green lighting and fast tracking until November 14th, you can use MySOS. Starting November 1st, which is in like 10 days from now, 11 days from now. Right now it's October 21st. This information can change. Starting November 1st, you can use the Visit Japan Web. And I highly recommend that you do that and use all the procedures through that. So if your trip to Japan isn't until like the 14th of November, you don't need to upload your vaccination certificates and things like this so far in advance. It actually, you can upload it according to the information. 6 hours before your flight is enough time. according to the information. So as long as you upload this stuff 6 hours or longer before your flight, you're okay. And they do it on a rolling basis based on when your departing flight is. So if you did it like 3 months in advance, that's okay to get the paperwork in, but it probably will take a lot longer for them to approve it because they're going on a rolling basis of those flights that are coming in early. And most people are not doing this paperwork until like 3 to 7 days before their flight, which is perfect. You don't need to think about this too far in advance. If your flight is November 15th, again, do not use the MySOS app. You can stop using it. Turn now to the Visit Japan app. So I think some people, we have to start telling this information to everybody now. Let me take a quick look here. The definitive source for information, I'm telling everybody this, is not YouTubers here. We can kind of point you in the right direction, but I want to make sure that you... King did his MySOS app like 3 months before. You didn't need to do that, buddy, but you know, I know you're always well prepared. And Michael Sassano's here. I was wondering about the MySOS app, if it was a requirement to download onto our phones. Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of people who are thinking the same thing. That's why I want to do this update. Just to reiterate some of the stuff here, this is from the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. This is your definitive source here for information on COVID and the entry policies into Japan. So don't take it from me. Go right to the source, please, everybody. And you can bookmark this if you're coming to Japan and check this once a week or maybe more if your flight is imminent. And then you'll get the latest information because it is bound to change. MHLW is all you have to Google. Japan entry, MHLW. And Google this stuff. Don't email message me. Like, everybody's emailing me. And you know what I'm doing? I'm Googling it for you and then responding. And I'm like, why am I doing this? People can Google this. What? So, very quickly, let's just go over this. Vaccination valid. Certifications. If you have 3 shots and the CDC paperwork for it, then you're not required to take a PCR test before you leave. And it is a massive pain in the neck to do this 72 hours before. You have to have it approved by Japan, certain methods, and a questionnaire is required no matter what. There is no on-arrival test anymore and no isolation unless you have symptoms on arrival. Another reason is if you're feeling bad, I have to point this out, do not get on the flight. You're just going to get in trouble when you get to Japan if you come down with COVID. It is not good to be here. You don't want to be, you don't want to get sick and have this in another country. Trust me on this. Japan is not the place to be. We already don't have like enough hospital beds and all this other stuff. It's kind of a big issue here. So if you're feeling bad, cancel the flight. I don't know. I don't know if you can get the money back on that or whatever, but this is not the place to be. Don't get on that flight if you're feeling sick or if you have a fever over 37.5 degrees Celsius, which is the mark. If you don't have a vaccination certificate or you're unvaccinated, a PCR test is required. The information is on the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. You can come to Japan, and there's a questionnaire that is required that's in the app. But this is the only thing that's different. Visa-free travel is available to 68 countries, and it's probably going to increase over time. You check out this website because you'll be able to see the valid vaccination certificates, which you need, the pre-departure test, all the information on this, and the questionnaire. All this information is here on this website. So you don't need to go to other sources. You don't even need to watch another YouTuber. You can just literally go to the Health, Labor, and Welfare website. All right? People are saying to me, John, your information is wrong. Information is wrong. I'm pointing you to this website. This is what I'm doing. All right. This is your. You can keep emailing me, but I'm just gonna keep pointing you to this website. So there's the questionnaire, so you can see all the things you need to do. We're gonna click this fast track real quick. Very quickly, you can see it has prompted you to this. If your arrival, hey Brandania, thank you. If your arrival is on and after November 14th, please use Visit Japan Web, available from November 1st. So this pops up. So again, this is kind of important information. Don't rely on the MySOS app after November 14th. And in fact, even if you have started it, you probably want to go over, and if you have more than 6 hours before your flight, start to do this on November 1st. Of course you do. You have 10 days. Until then, you can still use that MySOS app, so this information is relevant. You'll get a color based on the results of the verification process, which is, we did this when we were in the US, and it's really easy to use. Again, we were at our luggage and out the door within 30 minutes, which is crazy. I didn't think it would be this fast. Now, there's a PDF that I've included in the description of this video. It is the Visit Japan Web Instruction Manual. So again, hey Caroline, I'm glad that you guys can catch me live. I'm doing this. I'm not actually taking you around Tokyo. I'm making sure that you can get to Tokyo and Japan safely, which the purpose of the live stream. So I'm happy that you're here. So people can stop asking me questions about this. The PDF is in the description of this video. All right, so you can go there and get all the information and stop sending me messages. This is also good, probably bound to change. They've been working pretty hard on this app. They even have the revision history of it, which is pretty incredible. So they're working on this. I'm glad for the revision, the renewal dates. The revision history is good to know. So then you know when to update. But this isn't an app. This is all based on your browser, which I think is good. There's a table of contents. They can answer every question, and the app takes you all the way from immigrations and the pre-departure checks all the way to customs. All this is your paperwork. So I'm glad that they're getting rid of paper. It's good for the planet. Custom menu here. You probably, I think you have to make an account, which is also a good thing, because if you are to lose your data, you can just log in and it'll always be there, which I think is good. I'm glad. I prefer not to use an app, to be honest with you, because they put a lot of stuff in there and you don't know what's in there. You can access the common menu from the pages, so you just go check out the PDF that I put up there. It gives you all the pages, so you know exactly what's going in there. It's all boring looking interface, so you don't make a mistake with it. Even the logo looks boring. Visit Japan Web. I bet you they didn't really need to vote on that. That was pretty easy. It's a government agency that put this all together. Yeah, and that's all there. I can't actually log in because I don't have any fake information, but they give you the pages and what it looks like, and the step-by-step, even if you have to reset your password, is all here. So there's nothing to worry about. It's just, you want to make sure that you have a smartphone when you enter, and if you don't, you might want to have like an iPad or something, some digital device. Like, it's not required, but at the airport, I think you almost have to have a smartphone device unless you have all this paperwork with you and you don't mind several hours. Everything is done digitally, which is one of the big initiatives of the Japanese government over the next several years. Taro Kono, who's in charge of, he's the digital czar, which is kind of a cool title. He's one of the leading candidates for the next prime minister of Japan. He's in charge of this, I believe. And his Twitter is hilarious sometimes. He shows what he eats for lunch at the diet building and all this other stuff. So you might want to follow him on Twitter. But he's a graduate of Georgetown University and speaks and writes in English as well, which is unique for a Japanese leader. So you can get that information from him directly too. But he's been working really hard, his group, on this, and I'm really proud of that Japan is going digital. I think in the past you could fax in you could fax in your immigration documents maybe. Oh, that would have been crazy. But it's all here. If you're not sure what country and all this other information is allowing into there, there's a FAQ for this website here. You can see the Visit Japan Web FAQ. And on the website, which is the digital.go.jp, maybe I'll put it information here. It tells you about the operations and all this other stuff that I think is pretty useful. So that's the news of the day. You don't need to use the MySOS app. Again, the dates starting November 1st. We're not quite there yet. If you travel on November 1st or after, consider using the... let me just boil this down so it's clear. If you're traveling before November 1st, use the MySOS app. If you're traveling between November 1st and November 14th, let's say 13th to be safe, the first 2 weeks. You can use the MySOS app if you have all your documentation there, but they're encouraging you to switch over to the Visit Japan web entry procedures for fast tracking. On November 14th, let's say 13th, just so you're safe, onwards, you have to use the Visit Japan web. There's no more MySOS app. So if you're traveling after November 13th or 14th, consider using that because you have to. Okay, so does this make it easier for you? All right, maybe the amount of messages I receive asking me will go down a little bit. There was some. If you have any questions, again, it's all really well laid out on this website. Again, linked in with the video. There's the QR code. You can just screenshot this on your phone, and it'll take you into there. It's a web-based system. It's not an app-based system. I think the browsers, the usual suspects, Safari, Chrome, and what's the other one? Firefox, and I bet maybe a couple of other. Is Bing still a thing? I don't know. I don't know if they still what Microsoft is doing. Maybe even Explorer. A lot of Japanese still use Microsoft Explorer. I found at some government agencies. I'm like, what? Really? So there you go. I'll take some questions now. Do I use MySOS? I got voted in the apps. I frowned it. No, you don't have to use MySOS app after November 1st. It's done. The purpose of MySOS, just to reiterate, was for quarantining. And when you did, they could contact you through the app to make sure that you were where you were. Because if they caught you breaking quarantine, you would be deported on your own dime. Deportation is not a free flight home. I've gotten that question before. You basically can't come to Japan for 7 years. You're blacklisted from coming for 7 years, and it's not a nice thing. I think it goes on your permanent record. Try changing that. It's permanent. You're one of those people. Do you still need cashier? Oh, so MySO app is going away. I don't know if it's going away. I just know that it's obsolete. It's no longer necessary for entry into Japan. The caveat with all of this is, I highly doubt that Japan regresses and goes down to close down mode again. But in the case that it does, this app is there if they need to start quarantining people. Maybe if it's not for COVID, it's for something else, perhaps. This app is here for that purpose. So, they have the infrastructure and they're ready for it. Like in 2020, pre-2020, we really didn't have anything like this. It was a mess, and Japan has responded. I don't want to say well, but they've responded appropriately. And now that things are open, I'm starting to see the streets are not full of, but there are more visitors, and you can feel it. You can feel the vibe around the city of Tokyo has changed when you walk around. And maybe for me, maybe it's just the stronger coffee. Or maybe it's Melanie from the UK's really delicious snacks she sent. Thank you, and I'm about to send you a thank you note for that. We got them. They're really good. Thank you for sending that. Wow, we got like all these UK snacks. In fact, I'm breaking out on this side thanks to the chocolate, the Cadbury's. So I have some souvenirs. Glad I didn't book before November. By March, yeah. The procedures, and I think that people that come to Japan right now are welcomed with a really good exchange rate. It's now over 150 to the dollar. But you're also welcomed with less crowded places. And we don't know what the situation is going to be in March. Maybe China will be back in the fold, and it'll be a lot more crowded since 70% of the tourism came from China to here. It wasn't Western tourists. It was China. So we in Japan is actually really looking forward to that because a lot of the income came from them. Chinese tourists spent a lot more than Western tourists too. They did a lot more shopping, especially digital products, and they took back suitcases full of things. Whereas I hope Western tourists maybe buy some stuff here now that the exchange rate is lower. Yeah, according to JNTO's data, it was somewhere between 65 and 70%, with the remainder of that, like a lot of people from Korea, Taiwan, they made up like 70 to 80% of the tourists coming to Japan came from the regions around Japan. It was in the United States. It's just so far and so expensive to come here. Most Americans, especially on the East Coast, would go to Europe, and the West Coast would be more apt to come to Asia, to the other side, but it was still quite a far flight. And again, Japan is such an unusual destination still for a lot of people in America and Canada and the rest of the world. It's starting to become more of a mainstream destination, but I don't think it's at the same level as almost as like Italy and France and other countries that are topping the international tourism charts. Croatia is a big one now. Yeah, Chinese tourists per tourist spent vastly more. This is true. Maybe not on accommodations, but the package tours, I don't know who got the money, but in the end, like shopping wise, it's no question. You could see the suitcases going back to Beijing and stuff. It's like, whoa, it was impressive. I have to be honest. You would hear only Chinese in Ginza. In 2016 to 2019, I only heard Chinese. Very little Japanese, believe it or not. Sometimes English. Mostly Chinese I had heard walking down that street in Ginza. By the way, I'm thinking of doing a meetup tomorrow around 12 noon in Ginza. More information on Facebook if you're here in Japan. Possible meetup. I'm considering it. I'm arriving 10:30 and leaving on 11:06. Am I good if my SOS app is blue already? What did I say? Yes, you're good. First of all, I'm glad that you asked this TBert50. Thank you so much for asking this. Probably people are still confused. Number one, please don't ask me. Please go to the MOFA or the Ministry of, gosh, what is it? MWH. It's on the link's in the description of the video. That's your source. Yeah, you're good because the app doesn't actually start until the Visit Japan web doesn't start until November 1st. So it doesn't. Yeah. I don't know. Right? I think I said it. I think I said it. Yeah, you know. Any other questions before I skedaddle here? Yeah, you're good. If you already have the app, you're good until November 14th if you're using MySOS. I'd say November 13th just to be safe. If not, you can do both. Switch it over to starting November 1st, you can use this other app and do both then, I guess. If you started MySOS, it makes a lot of sense to make an account and, I don't know, be ready for anything. Aiken writes in here, have conditions changed? I don't think so, no. I haven't heard of anything yet. Still 68 countries can come in, but the fast tracking, again, I can't stress this enough. You don't want to start your trip off without doing this fast tracking app. Make sure that you don't get on that plane without uploading your information, and you might want to travel with your vaccination card anyways. Bring the paperwork with you in a special folder. Travel with that in your passport. Make copies of stuff. All right, everybody, make copies. I don't know what you can do if you use Dropbox. Maybe you can password protect it and put copies in there as well. If you want digital copies, everything's digital these days. But Japan is still a country that respects and loves paper, so having all your paperwork as a backup might be very valuable. Also, I said this a couple of times, make sure you have accommodations before you come to Japan. Go on booking.com, jalan.net, which is the Japan-based one, jalan.net. Book your accommodations at least for the first few days in advance because it is very, very tough to find accommodations right now. Maybe you can find it, but the prices are going up and Japan is not fully ready for foreign tourism yet because a lot of the places were shut down. And domestic tourism is having a boom right now, and Japanese have already booked hotels a month ago. So, you know, because we're getting vouchers up to $100 off per day. So we're all traveling too. So make sure please heed my warning. I don't want to see anybody, have to stay in a capsule hotel. Gross. All right. I found boogers and various stains in capsule hotels. I don't think that they clean them good. They wipe like this, and there's like adult TV in those like adult channels in the capsules. So you don't want kids in there. All right. So stop asking me if you should stay in a capsule hotel. No. don't, unless you really have to. It's nasty. All right. See, I'm serious. I find boogers on the wall all the time. And you know what? Who does that? Is it you? Are one of you people picking your nose and putting the boogers on the walls? Because it's nasty. It's a nasty habit. And don't flick them. Just don't pick your nose. Do it in the bathtub or in the shower. You can do a little cleansing thing or a tissue, Q-tip. I don't know. I don't do it, or at least I won't admit to it. I'm not blaming you, Jody. It's some other people. Use a tissue, right? JKO Adventures, and it's very unsanitary. Look, very clean. I have to cut that nail. I'm not an offender, but someone's doing that. All right, I'm gonna catch them. Like the Hamburglar, the boogler. It's a booger guy. It's like a museum of horror. I guess, like, why are we still talking about this? Booger police. How do you arrest somebody? You just arrest their nose. Good luck catching them in the act. It reminds me of that scene from Caddyshack. It's gonna pick, he'll give you $50. Is he gonna eat it? He's gonna eat it? He did eat it. Who eats their boogers? Oh. So there you go. Yeah, UV sanitizer lights might be useful in capsule touch. You get what you pay for. I have to be honest with you. All right, tomorrow I'm going to be doing most likely a meetup. You can look for Instagram, on Patreon, on Discord. If you're here in Japan, it'd be nice to say hi. If I do a meetup, I ask you to put your masks on. I might even do like the way that the Japanese do it. I might have a temperature checker, just to be fun. Because that's what they do at Japanese events. Like, they take your temperature, and I don't want to be responsible for somebody getting sick and then getting in trouble. So, but it would be cool to see some people. I know Norm is here. He's not too far away from me. At least we'll have Norm here, hopefully. Yeah. So tomorrow, Saturday, we'll try to do a meetup in Ginza. That's where I'll be. There you go. So, yeah, thanks for this. If you have any questions about what you should do to enter, please don't send it to me. Google it. google.com. Type in entry Japan procedures, okay? I'm a YouTuber creator person, all right? I don't know anymore. Norm is a Patreon supporter. Norm's a good guy. Yeah. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, thank you. Hello, hi. 821 just posted the instruction manuals. So stop emailing me. I don't know. People emailing me, like, in panic mode. One person sent me an email from the freaking airport and asked me what they need to do, and I said, it's too late. Like, but I'm happy that you think about me. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good night. I'll see you soon. Tomorrow. This was fun. There's a QR code. Screenshot it. My responsibility is done. You got that? There you go. Visit Japan. Screenshot. Later.